What's going on, guys? Legit MHX here, back with another Spider-Man PS4 video. Today, guys, we got some new information, a lot of new information, some details about the game, specific details, as well as a lot of new screenshots of the game, because we had a lot of news outlets across Europe, also in the UK, that had coverage of the game. They actually went to Insomniac Studio and got some coverage of the game, similar to Game Informer, but not as grand of a scale as Game Informer. So they should be doing just like an article each about the game, and they have a lot of stuff. They're long articles. You know, most of these are European and are in like a different language, like Italian, so I can't really know what they're saying, but Google Translate. And also the UK has an article from the Telegraph Gaming, and I think they all have pretty much similar stuff, but I will specifically be looking at the Telegraph because it's in English, because so I understand it. But I will leave a link down below to some of those European stuff and Italian stuff, and all those links that we know, everything. Insomniac just tweeted it out. I think it's like 3 AM in America as well, so it came suddenly. But anyways, there's some details here, and I've just picked out some of these paragraphs of, not paragraphs, but the information. I'll just read it out and tell you guys some of these new details. So basically, we've got around 5 new things, 5 new details that we do know, alongside the screenshots. Screenshots should be happening in the video right now, so just, we've got one new screenshot that is with Fisk's Goons, which is the concept art, I think, or it just might be the general model of the actual the Goons, Fisk's Goons. We got that looks very interesting, and we also got a lot of new screenshots for Spider-Man in general, just around the city and stuff like that. Pretty high quality screenshots as well. I'll leave a link down below to that as well. But going into some of these specific details that we did get, first of all, we actually got insight into how the opening cinematic actually takes place. Now I'm just going to read it out because I think that's just better than me just trying to summarize it. Basically, they said the game's opening cinematic sets the tone by showing Peter Parker using his web shooters to remove slices of bread from his pop-up toaster, and then pratfalling in classic slapstick tradition while trying to eat breakfast and struggle into his skin-tight spider suit at the same time. Likewise, drop down to street level while swinging around the city, and the civilians will high-five our hero or stop for a selfie. We're also shown a still from a later fast travel cutscene in which Spidey checks out his mobile on a packed subway train. So it's a bit of what we know, but that first beginning part sort of shows us how the game sort of starts, and it's setting that tone, as they said, setting that mood, and it's pretty interesting to know that detail. We also had a bit more details in terms of some of the dialogue, some of how the first mission sort of plays out. Basically, they said when Interhard demos the first half of the game's first story mission, it's noticeable that the action is accompanied by a dynamic running commentary courtesy of Peter Parker's incessant internal monologue. He says, "I guess this is what they call a hostile workplace," he quips while battling through the offices of Fisk Tower. "Is this tech support?" he asks after crashing into a server room. "I forgot my password." At one point, Peter takes a call from Aunt May while crawling up a lift shaft and explains away the background noise by telling her he's watching a superhero movie. Again, it's sort of setting that, so we get a bit more insight into some of that humor, some of that Peter Parker, that dialogue that sort of shows his character a bit more and how he's going to play out throughout the entire story. And it's interesting, some of these actual dialogue, it's funny. Some are like, it's a bit cheesy, but I think that's, we expect that from Spider-Man, and I like it. There's no negative emotion towards this. I enjoy it. I like that he's doing this, and it's not going to be pretty dead. Some games in the past have been quite monotonous, because there wasn't this stuff, but it sort of makes the atmosphere more live. We also got more details on MJ and sort of how Spider-Man and MJ will work together. I think John Paquette actually said this, quote, "Spider-Man is a hero by swinging around and beating up bad guys and doing the Spider-Man things. MJ is a hero by using her skills as a journalist to uncover corruption and bring down the bad guys in a much different way, and it's really a balance of those two. And imagine if they work together, then what could happen? And beyond that, imagine if their former boyfriend and girlfriend haven't talked to each other in 6 months and were forced to come together. To me, as a writer, that's a good grist for the mill." So that sort of shows what we can sort of expect from the MJ side as well as the Peter Parker side, and how those two worlds can sort of collide. Because we do know at the beginning of the game, they haven't actually talked to each other for like 6 months or something like that. And obviously they're going to have to cross paths, and that's going to be really interesting to see, because MJ does seem like that person that, really is sort of a hero in her on her own, but she does that sort of through her journalist things, where she's sort of trying to uncover the corruption. So she, as we saw from the story trailer, she does find out more about what Mr. Negative's plans are, and I think that's how they might actually cross paths, and it's going to be a bit interesting to see what actually happens there. So that's something cool that we did get to know a bit more about MJ. Next up, we have some details from Jacinda Chu about the actual suit. Now, I did say this in one of my videos about 30 things you may have missed from the game, from Game Informer's update, but she specifically goes over and says what the suit is, more specifically in terms of how it's made and stuff like that. So I'll just read that out. She says, quote, "His suit also has a lot of paneling and support like you'd see in athletic gear. The blue fabric is very thin and flexible that allows him a lot of mobility. The red is actually thicker and more armored, so it's placed in places where you'd expect. There's even some on his hip, for example, just in case he runs into a wall so he wouldn't get wall burn. The white is made from a flexible carbon fiber, and you'll see that on his gauntlets and on his chest and even on his legs, because it's great for kicking and blocking." So that you actually get a good insight into the the reasoning behind making the suit, which is very interesting. I really like how they have justification for having this red, this part red, and this one blue, not just because it looks cool. It does look cool, but I like how each color has a corresponding usage, and it sort of has sort of backstory to the suit. It's not just like, oh, here's the suit, we made a white spider because it looks cool, this part's blue and this one red because we want it that way. It has a proper thing. They put red in his hips because he might actually run into a wall and get wall burn. That sort of detail will make this game a lot better, and I really do like how they're doing that. Finally, we also got a confirmation on sort of seeing other heroes within the game. Brian Intihar, Telegraph actually asked Brian Intihar, will there be any cameos from other Marvel superheroes? And Brian Intihar said, "I would say right now we're really concentrating on making it a Spider-Man game within a Marvel New York City." So basically the core game will not have any other, Avengers, Black Panther, Doctor Strange. You won't have any of that. It's within a Marvel's New York City, so you will see that. They do exist, but they're not going to be within this game. What does interest me is that he did say, "I would say right now." So he said, right now they're focusing on it, but that doesn't mean that they might not open up things in the future. Well, whether that be a DLC or a sequel, we don't know. Maybe not speculate for now, but because we do want to focus on the core game right now, and that is that there won't be any other superheroes within the game. So that pretty much settles it, guys. I'll leave the links down below to some of these. So to the actual article. It's a long article. A lot of the stuff we do know, it's a bit more extra stuff, but this is sort of what I could sort of filter out some of the new things that you guys might be interested in. And also go check out those articles down below. I wasn't going to say everything because that'd take a long time. And also we got the screenshots, so that's also something to actually look at, and it's pretty interesting. I like the new screenshot. The screenshot's always amazing. I think they're all done on photo mode, but again, I don't want to extend this video out longer than it should be. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Leave a like if you guys did. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'll be continuing doing this coverage. Oh, sort of coverage, I don't know. It's covering coverage, I don't know. But yeah, subscribe if you guys haven't already. And this was once again Legit MHX signing out.